Hello everybody, this is Walrig, and welcome to episode 23 of Infinity Evolved Normal Mode. I was just sitting here, about ready to get all the parts together for this windmill that I talked about building to power my spawner, and I realized that there's probably another form of power generation that would get me just about as good, and that, I believe, is called the thermoelectric generator. Now this guy is nice. It makes power basically with heat variance. So if you put something cold on one side, something hot on the other, it will produce power from that. So we need a few things here. We need some steel ingots. I think I did find some. I have 3. I have exactly 3, which is what I need. Cool. So I can make it. The other thing I'm going to need is a copper coil, which is not too hard to make. It's just like so. And then I need some of this Constantin, which I can make in a metal press or with my engineering hammer. Looks like I need copper and nickel. Let's run downstairs. I think I've got the stuff I need down there. As you can see, my spawner over there is doing okay when it has power, and it's given me a fair amount of LP. But I want something a little more consistent. So let's see, what was that again? It's 1-to-1. Okay. Oops. Let's grab 4 of those and find our ferrous. And don't worry, this episode I believe we will be actually getting this all tied in with the AE system, because I'm tired of running over to that to try and find stuff. Okay, the output is blocked, so this should just grind those up. Go ahead and put that in there. And in the meantime, while that's finishing up, let's see what we can do to get started on the Applied Energistics Autocrafting that I had promised you. To start with, before we get too much further, we're going to need to do something about our channels. So we've got 4 channels in use out of a total of 8. So we can add essentially 4 more devices to our network, and then we will be capped out. I want to address that before it becomes an issue, and so I'm going to make a controller. There it is, the ME controller. Let's see, we need an engineering processor, some pure flux crystal, and some skystone block, which is just skystone smelted, which I should have a couple of those from my adventures in meteorite hunting. If you'll remember, the skystone comes from the meteorites, and the meteorites is where we got our inscribers. So let's go ahead and pop that in there. As soon as this is done, which it should be, I'll go ahead and get our Constantin cooking. So there's our skystone. We need to now, I think I've got pure crystals. I do. Perfect. So 1 controller. And the way the controller works is if we place it down, I just put it here, it looks pretty basic. But if I go ahead and place this somewhere next to my ME network, it suddenly lights up. And the way the controller works is that, oh yeah, you'll see that this now has dropped to 2 channels out of 8. So what I was doing before was actually passing all of the channels through, but now that the controller is here, this cable coming off of here is showing me how many channels are in use beyond this point. So if I have any more, I don't have any more smart cable, but if I were to pop this guy off and that one, I'll just go ahead and put that there and that there. It's going to take a second for our system to reboot, but once we do, we see that we've got our 8 channels, or our, 4 of 8, and then this one shows just 3 because if you catch right on the side there, I don't think there's a way I can zoom in too easily on it, but if you look on the side here, we've actually got one channel in use going to this storage bus, 3 channels in use going up through the power acceptor, which then goes into here and out and up and around and to all my stuff. So the controller is the piece that allows us to go beyond the standard 8 channels. And when I pull the controller off, you see that all 4 channels light up as you would expect. The way that the controller is configured is that each side of the controller can handle a maximum of 32 channels. So what is that, 32 times 6? I think that's 196, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to kind of centralize my controller. So this cabling here, if you remember, this is just basically providing the lights upstairs. So there's really no channels in use for these lights, these bright illuminated panels. They're drawing power off of the AE system. If I pull this guy off, you'll see the room got significantly darker. And if we hit F7, you can see that we've got a whole bunch of red X's where mobs can spawn. We put that back in, everything lights up, everything's good. So, yeah, one reason why I always want to make sure I have power in my AE system. But where do I want to put the controller? I think I want to actually have it somewhere. I don't know. Let's maybe go here and just put it here for now. I like to just kind of have it in a spot so I can see the nice little animation. And what that should do is, yeah, we can see now that this is only passing one channel because the only channel that this smart cable is interfacing into is the storage bus. So if we go ahead and pop that guy off there and that guy off there and move this again, we should see that this will light up with 4 channels again. Sorry, I was wrong. That's only 2 because that's the storage bus and the drive array itself. The other 2 channels are the interfaces or the terminals I have here, and they do not go through this cable because they go back to the controller now. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. I know some people get confused by channels. They're really not that confusing. And hopefully, with some of the stuff I have planned for today, I can help you see that controllers are your friends. Or, excuse me, channels are your friends. And if we go down here, we can see where the controller is actually touching the cable there. So that's essentially sending its 8, or in this case only 8 channels, because the standard cable, Fluix cable there, can only pass 8 channels at a time. We will get to more channels here shortly. But before that, let's go ahead and grab this stuff. And let's grab our hammer. I have an engineering hammer. There it is. I have a hammer. Take my hammer and this guy. I think I needed about 6, or did I need, what was it, 5? I need 5. There we go. So that gets us some of that. We should have everything we need now to make our thermoelectric generator. And there's a couple of different things that I can use to create the hot and cold sides of this. One of them that I want to try, because I've read that this should work, I'm going to grab 9 pieces of yellorium. And how much of that do we have, by the way? Quite a bit. We've got about 1,900 pieces of yellorium, which is pretty nice. Yellorium is a type of, must have accidentally put one away. It's a type of fuel that we can use in a mod called Big Reactors, which we will be getting to in due course. Might actually have to get to it sooner than I had originally intended, mainly because we need... I'm going to sleep to get rid of this rain. We're going to need a pretty solid source of power. I am really sick of these Endermen. These guys are messing with me. They keep stealing parts off my house. Unless it's lightning. I don't think it'd be lightning. It would burn my whole house down if it was lightning. Anyway, let's go over here and power up this spawner. See, I think, yep. That should be toast. Good, good. Torches. Torches would be a good thing to have right now. I just want to make sure nothing spawns while I'm down here. I don't want to have to deal with it. So let me grab some torches real quick. There we go. We will get to autocrafting today. I promise you. But first, we got to get this guy taken care of. So we're just going to light some stuff up here. Just to make sure we got a nice, easy spot to work with. Then I think... Actually, you know what? Since I'm going to have this powered, I don't even care about it being dark in there anymore. So let's get some cobblestone and make ourselves a nice little basin for our water. Oh, what am I... I'm worried about it being dark in here. I'm thinking... I was thinking that I was going to be using lava, but I'm not. I'm going to be using yellorium. Lava, of course, would produce light, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to take the thermoelectric guy. I'm going to place him down like so. And this probably works on all sides, now that I think about it. And if that's the case, then I'm going to want to place blocks all the way around this guy. But for now, we will just cap off the sides like this. I'm going to put our yellorium on one side and our water on the other. And now if this is true, I want to turn that off just in case it decides to start trying to spawn stuff while I'm in here. We'll do this. We will connect, and I should get about 20 RF a tick. Yes, sir, I do. I'm getting power out of that at about 20 RF a tick. Fantastic. And like I said, I think I can use the other two sides as well. So let me go grab some more yellorium and some more water and be right back. And indeed it does work. So now we see we're getting 40 RF a tick. And that's filling that up quite nicely. So, you know, that's not bad actually. That's all pretty well self-contained. And I'm going to go ahead and tear the torches out of here. I don't need them because now I have a powered spawner, but I'll keep them around for now. And eventually I may... Get out of there. I may actually put a lever on that to turn it off at some point, but for now, that's just going to run. Because once this gets full, I don't really need it to run anymore. But for now, that is... I'm not going to say that it's free LP, but it's not costing me anything either, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Cool. Now, on with autocrafting. So we've got the controller in place. Controllers are good. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some stuff away, things I don't need. And let's take a look at what we need for autocrafting. The first thing we're going to need a couple of pieces. We're going to need a molecular assembler, which is this guy here, which takes a formation core, annihilation core, some quartz crystals. What do we have? We have everything except the crafting table. Cool. That's easy enough. Like so. And this, and we have the first piece of our auto-crafting system. The next thing we're going to need is an interface. So we're going to need a couple more of these cores. We're going to need a formation core, which, what am I missing here? So the formation core and the annihilation core are, of course, opposites of each other. They need some fluix dust, which means I need a fluix crystal, which means I need to make some. So I need some nether quartz. I need some charged Certus quartz and some redstone. And of course the way we make this is we pop outside here, and I'm gonna crouch while I do this. I'll just throw it in the water. Come on. You, and you. Throw those together momentarily. They should pop out. And I'll make sure, yep, I got 8. Cool. So you get 2 for every 1 operation, essentially. And then I need to take those and grind them up. So that'll give me 2 of those. I think I got everything I need out of that. And then we'll go ahead and make formation cores and annihilation cores. Excellent. And then we'll get ourselves an interface. 1 interface for now ought to do. I will probably need some more later. And then with this, so I can actually show you kind of how this works. So the molecular assembler, this is a machine that doesn't take any channels. So I put that in here, and you'll see that we're still using 2 channels. So what this does is this simply crafts an item based on a recipe. So if we were to take some wood, for example, let's just grab 4 pieces of plank here, and oh wait, I forgot I need to do a pattern first. So one of the components we're going to need in this is a pattern terminal. I'm just going to take a crafting terminal, which takes a regular terminal. You can see why I want to automate this process, because it's going to get very old very quickly with all these chained recipes. So I'm going to make some more, let's go ahead and grab, I don't know, half of those guys. I'm going to make some more logic processors with our setup here. All we have to do is throw them in, and it should be making it 1 at a time. So not the fastest thing in the world, but it's going to do its thing. In the meantime, essentially the way this works is you'll see there's a spot here for what looks kind of like a drive that's actually a pattern. So you encode a pattern into this, and then once the items, the pattern will show up here on the left, and then once the items are available for the molecular assembler, then it crafts the item. And so we could just make patterns, put them in here 1 at a time, and have it craft items for us. But what we actually want to do with this, and which is much more efficient, yeah, why not? We'll go ahead and just place this guy right here. We'll go ahead and put this down with an interface in front of it, and what we can do then, if we actually look at the interface, you know what, I don't think we've had interfaces yet. So ME interfaces are nice little devices, incredibly useful. They're kind of one of the mainstays of an ME network. You're going to have a lot of ME interfaces. But one of the things that we can do is that we can pipe items into it. So let's just go ahead for fun here, and let's put a hopper on the side of this interface. And if I take these wooden planks now and I place them in here, what you'll see, you won't actually see it happening, I guess, because it's just happening automatically. those items are going back into the AE system. So I can actually pipe items straight into an ME interface, and they go right into storage. I can also take those items and just place them here, and they'll go into storage as well. So if we go ahead and pop those guys in, we come over here, we find our wooden planks. We see all 44 of them still sitting there ready to go. The other thing I can do with this is I can program this interface to store a certain number of items in itself. And then it can act like a chest, and actually when I pull an item out, it replaces it with something from inventory. So that's handy, and we'll make use of that later. When we're placed next to a molecular assembler like this, the piece that's most important for us is this line here that says patterns. And so that's where we can store the patterns that we create. And once we have patterns stored in it, then that molecular assembler can essentially load that pattern into, or excuse me, the interface can load the pattern into the molecular assembler and create the items. Cool, huh? So enough talk. Let's get this built. What are we making? We're making the pattern terminal. So that needs a crafting terminal, which is like so. Need another crafting bench. Let's go ahead and we can compress crafting tables. I had no idea I could do that. It's probably useful for Thaumcraft, for making hungry nodes, which I've never done before, but I should. Diamonds. All right. I didn't have many of these because I didn't have too many diamonds. Now I have more diamonds. Let's make more. I'll go ahead and throw those in and just kind of let them go to work. All right, in the meantime, while we're waiting for that terminal to finish, what else can I work on? Nothing else right now. Let me come back in a minute when I've got some more of these guys ready. Okay, got ourselves a pattern terminal. And this, I'll just go over here and connect it right there. We'll see that lights up another channel, because that does actually take, the interface took a channel, and the pattern terminal takes a channel, as does the storage bus and this guy. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 channels in use. Perfect. What that does mean then is we kind of have to keep in mind that there's 2 other channels on this leg that we can't see here, and those go all the way over to the controller. So we're still okay for now because we've got 4 plus 2 is 6. So we still have 2 more channels that we can use on this particular side of the controller. For now, though, let's see what we need to now make a blank pattern. We'll do like that. And so we can use the pattern terminal as a crafting recipe. And so the first thing I'm going to do actually is I'm going to encode a blank pattern. And once I've got that, then I load it up in here, and that now is something that we can craft. But we've got an issue. So if we go look here, we can see that we can craft blank patterns. And when I click on that, say, I'll just tell it I wanted to craft 10. I hit next, it tells us why there's no crafting CPUs available, and we're missing some things. So we can see that it gives us a lot of information in the crafting interface. So what are these CPUs it's talking about? Well, they are exactly what they sound like. They are kind of the final component of the crafting mechanism, and that is essentially if you think of it like a computer system, which is essentially what Applied Energistics is, there has to be a dedicated processing unit for crafting. So we need to build a crafting unit, which I should have. Let's see, these are engineering. Do I have calculation? I don't. Calculations are made with pure crystals. Let's go ahead and just take half of those. Throw those in here. I probably need some more. There we go, some more of that, and some more of that. Alright, looks like I've got some more crafting to do before I'm ready to go. Okay, so I wanted to point this out. If we look at these blocks here, we've got several different versions. We've got the basic crafting unit. That's kind of step one. Everything is based off of that. But then we've got coprocessors, 1K crafting storage, 4K, 16K, 64K, and a crafting monitor. So the way this works is that to begin with, the minimum thing we need is a 1K crafting storage. And that's basically, that's where when you go to craft something, it takes all the items and it puts them into storage, into a separate storage. That way then you can't essentially craft something that you don't have the recipes or the materials for. And this is kind of how it does it. So in order to make that, we need a crafting unit and a 1K storage cell, which I should be able to make the crafting unit now. Pretty sure I have, yeah, I had a 1K storage cell just kind of sitting around that I had made by accident. So if I take those two together, I now make my crafting piece. And I have gone ahead and changed the wiring. If I pop downstairs here, I changed the wiring on this so that it's going through the controller rather than around it. And this way I have 8 channels on this side and I have 8 channels on that side. So that will allow me to make better use of that controller where it sits. And then I can look at this and say that I have 6 channels over here. And we'll just go ahead and put this, oh, why not? We'll put it right there. And once it lights up, it's on. So now what we did before, when we can go to either one of our terminals, we go and look for our blank pattern. We see that it's a crafting recipe. We tell it we want to make 10. It says we're missing quartz glass and iron. Okay, how about can we make 1? Let's just make 1. I'm still missing quartz glass. Okay, so I probably need to get some of this. I believe it's something like that. And wait a second. What am I doing? I'm doing it the hard way. So let's go ahead and look at what it takes to make quartz glass. Quartz glass is, as I was trying to do, it's either nether quartz or Certus quartz ground up, and then it's just surrounded by glass. So if we go ahead and do one of these, we don't have any blank patterns, so we'll grab one here, and then we will tell it, we should be able to tell it to just make us one more recipe. Perfect. And we see we've got CPUs, so let's go ahead and hit start. And very quickly we see we've got one pattern. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to encode this guy so that now I can make more of them. And what you should see here is that it will tell us if it's going to, okay, there's still 2 available, but let's say that we want to go back here and make 10 of them. Well, other than we're missing iron, it tells us that we've got 2 quartz glass available, but it's going to craft 20 of them. And it's going to do that with Certus dust and pure crystals and glowstone and all those things. So really all we need to do is get some iron ingots in there and we can make some more blank patterns. Cool. We have iron. Let's grab some. So let's grab another stack of iron and throw it in the system. And now we can make some more blank patterns. And we tell it to make 10, and if you watch, you'll see that it's actually loading up the items in here. And it's essentially creating them in here, and then they're being spit back into the interface, where they get pulled back into the AE system. And if we go and look, we see we have, in fact, 10 blank patterns. How cool is that? So what do we want to do next? Well, I've been doing a lot of running back and forth, at least over to here, to get items out of these drawers, and they're good storage, but it's kind of a nuisance to have to run over there and get that all the time. And if we look, I've been kind of throwing stuff in on occasion. Let's go ahead and grab everything that is not some sort of amalgamation. Let's go ahead and throw these back in. I've just kind of been throwing stuff in my inventory for the time being, but I want to take care of that now. So one of the things I'm going to want to do is create another storage bus. Storage bus. And that's going to take an interface and some sticky pistons. Interfaces take formation and annihilation cores. So let's go ahead and teach our system here how to make these. I'm just going to go ahead and grind all this up. We're going to teach it how to make an annihilation core. And then when we swap this out with, oops, grab some pure Certus quartz. That should be a formation core. So now it knows how to make those. Grab the rest of this dust real quick. You can see that I'm going to need to auto-craft the production of Fluix dust here at some point, because that is going to be problematic. So next I want to make an interface, which is iron. Of course I grabbed the iron. This will give me a chance to show one of the nice things. So if I just let's grab the 4 iron that we need. The way the pattern interface works, or the pattern terminal, I should say, is that it can ghost the items. So it was able to put iron in there, even though there shouldn't be any iron ingots in the interface here, because I had that iron in my inventory. If I come here and tell it I want some cores, I should be able to have it make 2 of those and 2 of those. Because I had the iron in my inventory, I was able to ghost it into that interface. So you look, when I right click it, it ghosts into that interface. It doesn't actually exist in there, which is pretty handy. So I do like this, and again you'll see that these guys went in but they didn't actually get used. I'm going to encode the pattern, and we can see pretty quickly that our interface here is getting filled up rather fast. But that's okay, because we can auto-craft them. Oh, wait. Let's go ahead and put my iron in. Let's make our interface. Craft. Done. Just like that. Pretty quick. Don't worry, we can actually speed it up in the future. If it's not fast enough for you now, it will be. The last thing we're going to need is a couple of pistons. So let's teach the system how to make pistons. First off, standard piston. Again, I need some iron. We'll get here. Alright, I'm just going to grab a stack for now. And this is the last time I'm doing this, I promise. So iron in the center becomes a piston. And we'll go ahead and grab 1. And then we make a sticky piston, which we can do with our slime. We got lots of slime. We live in a slime chunk, surprisingly. It's not very often I do that. But now, what we should be able to do is make a storage bus. Oh, wait a second. Because I forgot to make the sticky piston. Let's craft that guy real quick. And now we have a storage bus. Fantastic. If we look, we can make a storage bus. And let's say that we want 2 of them. This shows us all of the items we're going to be using. And it does, this is where at the top here we want to keep track of how many bytes we're using to make this. because that's going to reflect, we've got essentially 1,000 kilobytes that we can store. So when we tell it we want to craft 2 of these, you can see we're using about 700 bytes to store all of the items. So still plenty of space. 1, 2, just like that. The last thing I'm going to need here before I can do this is I'm going to need some more Fluix cable, and we need about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then about another 7 or so. So let me make some more Fluix cable real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, we got our cable now. We're going to do a quick here because I know I'm getting a little long in the episode. So I'm going to go ahead and put these. I'm going to move that guy. Not a fan of that, but I'm going to put them on either side. So one of the nice things with this drawer controller is that I can tie it right into an AE system. Pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and grab this like so. Slap a storage bus on there. And one more there. If we run downstairs here quick, we will run our cables through. That's unfortunate. That guy's in the way. Let's go ahead and move this like that. Put that back. There it is. Like so. That makes it look better. And then, where's our cable? There's that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, and looks like I need to make some more there. But, cool. I got an achievement. Nice. That was probably for going beyond 8 channels. Because now that storage bus is online, and if we come over here and look at our ingots, we see we have all of them. Because that guy is reaching in through the storage bus and grabbing it. The last thing I'm going to do here is set the priority on this so that this storage bus, kind of similar to what we did with the drives earlier, I want this to be the primary place that it tries to put everything, but the drawer is only going to allow it to put in the items it can store. So with that, we have started Autocrafting. We've tied in our storage, we've got some stuff going, and that's going to get us started on a lot more fun stuff in the future. For now, this is Walrig. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.